What's up, family? I hope everybody's doing well. I've had a crazy last week. That's why I kind of went rogue. I had my good buddy from back home's wedding, so I had to drive to North Carolina. It's a 12-hour drive each way. Then we had the rehearsal of the wedding, so I've been like crazy busy. But when I got down there, I was talking with some dude who is in his senior year of college, and he was kind of asking me like what to expect, and he was asking me about corporate structure and stuff. And that was kind of the inspiration for this video because, a lot of people wonder, is college worth it? And it's like the talk of the town, is college worth it? Because everybody says it's not. And I would say it depends on the person. So it's difficult because most times when we make this decision, we're 17, 18 years old, just graduating high school. You have no idea what you want to do with your life. You don't know what path you want to take. Oftentimes counselors are not helpful at all. And I'm a perfect example of that because I changed my major 3 times in my first semester. I started off physical therapy. I was in a PTA program at community college. And then I changed to business. And I took business administration and marketing and learned a whole lot of stuff actually in just a semester. And it scared the shit out of me because I learned that 85% of small businesses fail in the first 5 years. And I wanted to kind of open up a gym. I wanted to be a personal trainer. I wanted to use my talents and my passion, monetize it, and just, I guess, become successful through my own practice in business. But I was scared, which most people are. And you got to learn to take risks, but calculated risks. And I just shied away from that. So I changed to general studies, and that was where I lined myself up to take courses to transfer to get an associate's in nutrition, and then eventually further my education on and pursue a degree in dietetics. So I wanted to be a research dietitian was what I wanted to do. Registered dietitian, but in research. But, we don't know what we want to do at 17, 18. And I feel like there's not enough emphasis placed in high school on not so much career development, but learning what we like and our interests in discovering our personality, because some people just aren't fit for college. Some people can't sit through 6 hours of lectures, and for me, I was in a science field. So, you have classes that have an hour and a half long lecture, and then you have 3-hour labs 1 or 2 times a week. So that on top of the coursework that you got to do on your own, whether it's lab reports, whether it's essays or papers, or, there's a lot of things, and it's hard to balance that. And luckily for me, I'll get into this schedule stuff later, but you don't necessarily need a degree to be successful. And this is a misconception a lot of people have, because there are tons of people that have 0 college degree, no college degrees at all. Some of them didn't even graduate high school, and they're more successful than a lot of people that have degrees. And, there are things you could do, like you could do a trade. You could just become an entrepreneur. You don't need a degree to start your own business. There are non-jobs. There's certifications you can take. There's tons of different ways that you can go about it. There's a lot of YouTubers that have no degrees and they make stupid money, and it's just a matter of finding that niche audience and, I guess, putting in the work and discipline. And so you don't need a degree to be successful. So get that right out of your head immediately. But depending on your career path, if you do know what you want to do, like for me, I definitely needed a degree. And I think for me, college was definitely worth it. And I'll kind of explain a few reasons why. The things I learned from college, first off, again, I went to community college for 3 years. The first year I changed my major so many times, then I eventually transferred and then got my degree in the 2 years, my associate's degree. And I chose to do so first in part because my girlfriend at the time was still in the area. And so I didn't really want to up and leave. I did want to save money, which if you're staying at home and commuting, you definitely save a lot of money. And then the cost of community college is a lot cheaper. So for 3 years, it cost me about $13,000, which really isn't bad. 3 years of college for that much. I'll take that all day long. Again, it varies state to state. So it's not always, it's probably cheaper in a lot of places depending on where you are, but the main thing was I wanted to stay for my girlfriend. I wanted to save money, and I wasn't 100% sure especially right out the gate, right out of high school. I had no idea, really. I had an idea, but I didn't really know. I didn't really think about it that much, unfortunately. And so once I went to 4-year, this was where the biggest changes in my life really occurred, I guess, because that's where I learned the most and where I benefited the most. And the first thing was you learn to be independent. I mean, I've been independent for most of my life as it is, since I was about 15. You guys know, like, my grocery haul videos, I was always buying my own groceries, even when I was like tail end of senior year of high school, and then through community college, and even up to this day, I guess. I always pay for my own groceries, but you really have to learn to be independent, whether it's doing groceries, grocery shopping. You really have to emphasize on time management. And that was where a big, I guess, the big development came in my personality was the time management, because you got to learn to balance everything from, your social life to your schoolwork, actually attending lectures, and then the projects you got to do outside of that. And I was in a couple of clubs. I was the public relations chair for one of the nutrition clubs, so I was really busy with that. And it really develops you as a person and helps with your time management. So there's a lot of things that factor into that in terms of being independent. And, you meet a lot of your close friends there. Like for me, my best friends were my roommates. Like not at that point in time, but I met my best friends in college, and then they became my roommates. So you make a lot of friends. Sometimes you realize what it's like to live with people that suck, in which case, you kind of learn what you can and can't deal with. You can kind of assess what type of personalities jive with you, and you're exposed to very diverse and different people with different backgrounds. And, you get a diversity of courses, which I guess is good. I mean, I've always hated liberal arts, and I've always hated like sociology. I think it's a useless profession. I don't think it's a profession. It's trash, but in terms of a degree, you don't need a degree in sociology to read a sociological study. You don't. It's you read the data and then interpret it. It's very simple. But you're experienced to a lot of different people. And when I was in school, like where I grew up, it was a lot of traditional people. Like I grew up in a traditional small town. Everybody's kind of what you'd consider country hicks and stuff like that. And so when I went to my 4-year college, a lot of people were from Long Island or the city. A lot of people were very wealthy and snooty and materialistic, and that's not how it was like where I was raised. So I learned to kind of deal with those people and see the type of people I could be friends with. And, it's a good experience. And I think people need to be in those situations to really, I guess, realize the kind of friends you want. And, it takes meeting some horrible people to realize what kind of good people are. I think that definitely plays a part. But I would say the most important benefit for me going to college was the connections that I got. So whether it be like the friends that I made, because they can always, if you need help finding a job, like I helped one of my friends when he was applying to jobs, and he didn't end up getting one with me, unfortunately, but he was able to find something eventually. But there's that, but you get connections through your professors. And this was huge for me because a lot of the people, nearly everybody on the staff in my program was a PhD. They had research experience, and I could use that to kind of not only learn things, but they were a great asset for me, both going through the program in the university, but afterward, because I was looking to go to grad school, and I needed people to kind of guide me on the path, make sure I had everything taken care of, help me kind of determine the path that I wanted to go. Because again, I was in dietetics, so I didn't know if I wanted to be a clinical dietitian. I didn't know if I wanted to work in a hospital. I didn't know if I wanted my own practice. I didn't really know all that went into it. And eventually I decided on research, and I changed my major senior year to biology because I wanted to do research. So why not do that? And one of my favorite professors that I had, he had a PhD. He was really big into neuropsychology and neurophysiology. And he was the guy who I did research with my senior year, who lined me up with something that really helped me in terms of getting into graduate school. And he wrote me a letter of recommendation, which is huge. You need 3 or 4 to go to grad school. And he did that, and he actually went to school in Long Island before he transferred to Stanford for his PhD. And he kind of gave me an outline as far as like looking at apartments, where I need to live, like good areas, bad areas, things to consider. And I didn't really have that guidance from, say, my parents or some of my friends. So that was a huge help. And I can't say that enough, because the professors in college, whether you need help with like homework or anything, or just life, or somebody to talk to, or you just want a friend, or you want some guidance, or like a sort of like a mentor, they're huge if you could find a good professor. And so cannot say enough good things about that. There are some shitty professors and some people that suck, but there are some good ones out there, and it's a matter of finding them. So it's definitely helpful. But lastly, I kind of want to talk about the cost, because it's huge, and this is one of the things that kind of makes or breaks whether it's worth it or not to go to college. So like I said, my 3 years at community college cost me about $13,000. Then my 2 years at four-year university cost me, that brought up the total to $66,000. So $66,000 in the whole for 5 years of college. The biggest expense really was the room and board. Living on campus is extremely expensive, way more expensive than tuition. And that's the risk you tote. You could live off campus. There are guidelines as far as like if you're in your first 2 years, you can't. And it's way cheaper to live off campus, but I wanted the convenience of being close to the library, being able to walk to class, being around my friends, being able to socialize more. So I took that, and it had its perks and it had its downfalls. And now that I'm paying for it, it absolutely sucks. But there's also hidden costs that you don't really consider, and this is things like food. Whether you got a meal plan, you're still going to need snacks and random shit around your house and drinks. There's the textbooks, which are huge. And this is one thing I learned. Don't always buy your textbooks. I made this mistake my first semester in college, is I bought every textbook brand new right as soon as the courses started. Come to find out, a lot of professors don't even use a textbook whatsoever. So you waste that money, especially if you open it. You can't return it. They won't give you full value for it. Like, I opened a book on accident. I just opened the seal. Like, I ripped it. It was like a $150 textbook. I brought it back, asked to return it. They said no. They'd have to give it to me give back the value in terms of a used book. And it was like, I bought it for like $150. They offered me like $18 for it. It wasn't even used, didn't even flip through the pages. So be aware of that. Make sure you know which courses you need a book for and which ones you don't. And pro tip, you could find a lot of ebooks, whether you go through Chegg or whether you go through like Amazon or these third-party sites. You could rent textbooks, definitely recommend that, or you could buy ebooks online. So my Cell Bio class, I didn't buy the textbook. Instead, I bought the ebook for it, and it cost me like $8. So, and I still have it on my computer to this day. So definitely consider that. Try to find some good websites for that. If you need help, you just email me and I'll be able to help you out with it. But don't be buying all your books, especially brand new. If you can rent them, because you're not going to need the textbooks. They just take up space. Like, I have a bunch of textbooks that I bought and I never fucking look at them. It's just a waste of money. And then every 2 years they have contracts with some of these companies, and so they have to update, and then you got to buy that one. So then the past years you got to buy a new textbook. So it's ridiculous. But there's all that, and then you're going out with friends, you're eating, you're drinking, all this kind of stuff that really adds up in terms of money. And then if you need like a computer, like for me, I had to buy a new laptop my first semester because mine shit the bed in the first week. So all these unexpected expenses. Believe it or not, I actually spent my first semester away at school, I spent $4,000. Yeah, not proud of it. So that was, again, I bought a laptop, but it was cheap. Bought a laptop. I had to buy random stuff for like our suite. So I bought like rugs and random supplies and, like trash bins, like hot plates, mini fridge. You never know what you're going to need. Like tables and like things to store your stuff in. And I spent an unbelievable amount on alcohol. And, if I could go back, I wouldn't do it different because I had so much fun. I was kind of reckless in college. And then going into your senior year, if you do want to go to grad school, there's other things you got to consider, things you got to pay for. You got to pay for transcripts, which is insane that you have to pay to have those. Like, I think it cost me like $15 to send a transcript. And if you're sending it to multiple schools, which most people don't just apply to one grad school, I was applying to 3. And then there's like the GRE graduate exam, which costs $280 per. And if you were taking it multiple times like I did, it really adds up. So there's a bunch of things that you don't really think about that you really have to factor in if you're going to consider going into graduate school or further education, or if you're just looking for a 4-year degree. It is expensive, so you got to kind of weigh out the pros and cons. And if you're young enough watching this, bust your ass in high school, because I didn't do that. People told me to, and I didn't. I mean, I did well, but I didn't excel because I didn't really push myself, because I could get by, getting 90s on exams. But if I pushed a little bit harder, and actually studied instead of just fucking off, studying 5 minutes before and then going to the exam, I could have got a lot of scholarships. And I missed a scholarship for four-year university by 0.05%, because when I was in community college, I dicked off and I was worried about the girl who I was talking with instead of going to classes. So I got a B in yoga because I had to take a PE credit, and I got a B in yoga because I missed. It was strictly on attendance, and I missed it by one day because I chose to hang out with this girl who I was talking to that broke my heart, man. But I missed like 4 classes to go see her. And if I hadn't have done that, I would have got a scholarship, and it would have saved me probably like $15,000. And so that is a choice that I made, and I regret it deeply. So just consider that. I hope this video was somewhat informative and helpful, because it's a huge decision and you really got to think about all aspects of it. I didn't want to make this too long. I could go on for hours about, college and what to expect and a whole bunch of other things, but for the sake of time, I'm already at over 16 minutes, so I'm going to cut this video off now, and I hope you guys like the video. Be sure to comment, and I'll see you guys sooner than later. Have a great night.